All right. Um, so then the brain, right and left brain, is in a way the consolidation. I don't know if I spelled that right. Of two universes. Compassion makes the third universe, which is a generation of a multiverse. Hate makes war between two universes, which is kind of like a broken signal. It competes until it drowns itself out. If it's not understood that has to go beyond the illusion of competition, and then we understand that there is no such thing as the war, because the entire thing was a generation. But you have to understand how that works. It's basically Tomorrowland style transceivers, and what occurs is a signal flip where the information that's supposed to be reaching the planet is being put through a phaser system where it's basically polarized in a certain direction, and polarization is coming one way and shifting it into the other polarization, knocking it up or down, and it's coming in waves, so you're getting ripples of polarization. So it would be kind of like if the pixels in your monitor all went and they went across the gradient to the point where red, green, and blue flip-flopped, kind of like a Jacob's Ladder toy across the pixels. So our minds across time, across the countries, the dimensions, the bloodlines, the cultures, the projects, like of our development, religion, science, is this and the other, well, it's been edited so that when we began, this equator line, this terminator line, went between the polarities. This was consciousness, a consciousness membrane, a pleroma. An experiment started a shift, said, we can change time here, stretch this time out, give us eternity. And it said, boom, and created a stretch of nothing but open charge, which means our bodies can sit in that forever. This made a big wave, like a tsunami of negative charge that just went outward from there, or positive charge, which would be negative because it would knock your energy out. And so it went like this, where it was like this, and we were riding the wave, staying consciousness, unconscious, unconscious. And when we go unconscious, it's a different universe facing that direction, doing different stuff. And it's the exact opposite. And then we go conscious back here, the same stuff goes and turns back into this. They wanted to know why. Who's more powerful than you? Think we can't handle that? So they opened that portal. From then on, our Earth was staying awake as we went into the underworld and phased into another reality where everything was the exact opposite. So that's the galactic plane, if you will, and we were floating along perfectly fine and dandy, and the experiment, there's a kind of like there's graphing terminology, but I can't think of it right now, where there's a set time that we're supposed to be on in that trajectory. And so once one became like that, and that got moved, and then this one was doubled, and that one got moved, it disrupted that pattern from there on, like a checkerboard pattern through multiple dimensions. As a result, entirety from then on was us in a phantom verse floating who knows where, trying to recatch up to where we think we were supposed to be in time. That was the real dimension Earth that never had that experiment, and it was just off somewhere we can't imagine. Ultimately, we reached them, and we couldn't imagine what was on. There was a billion years in front of us, or between us, because that mistake didn't make it go. It went in its exponential scale, and so when we were supposed to be this size, we were still doing this. Just like, wait, what? We didn't map out. Sorry, it's cold in here. I have a... And so then the awareness that goes up or comes down, it flip-flops, and ultimately you have basically an angel and a devil on your shoulder. That whole dynamic, that whole split-brainness, that whole psychology of all that, it was from what went on here. And it might have not been here, but at this point now, because we're in the other one, it might have been from a phantom, which is good and interesting once you kind of look at what we're in. And so, the primary truth, which is unchanged, no experiments, nothing happens ever, meaning it's just perfect in a way. It's hard to understand because it also means it's never really fully there, but we can only have dream time, exponential visions of it, if you will, but they last forever, and then we come here and it makes us who we are. It doesn't make sense, but that's reality. That was always there, and we've been there, apparently. When we're not there, we're in one place that's not there. This place happens to be defined by how we're not there because we don't know where we are, and so on and so forth. And there's a particular process that was used to map it out and to give us the effect. Ultimately, we made something of it, but it wasn't like the intention to do this and have that happen, unless, I don't know, maybe it was. But it inverted Earths and created two Earths, and the one Earth is a phantom, meaning it only leads away from the real path, which always leads back to, and the point of choice basically is the nexus, which more or less where all the information gets so condensed in one direction or another that it has to basically be one or another. It has to be what it is. And so that became the left brain inversion, and that line here. And so all this right brain, left brain is actually up, down. But not in the right left brain, it's as if up, down was made equal, and now we have analytical and creative and so on, and like digital and strict architecture and physical and spiritual, creative and awareness based. Those are two universes mixed together. Two ideas. It was two ideas mixed together to create this, to give people a chance. Basically, a fallen universe of tech was given a chance to resurrect themselves through this timeline where we have this kind of organic agreement, and if long as they keep their awareness above a threshold of compassion, it reunifies them back into that. It's a redemption. And so we became the phased Earth, where they were trying to catch up to the living Earth, and these are synchronized with each other. So when Earth falls out, they have to wait one cycle until that Earth can be contacted again. And so that means if between here and there, the amount of, not karma, but compassion threshold has to go up. Every time they go down, whatever they don't have turns into basically hell fuel. So it's a game of riding the waves of heaven and hell and playing rapids with advanced tech and craft and engineered beings and stuff. And some people were going under and choking on the foam and this, that, and the other. It was messed up. There's a lot of dimensions in between and so on. And not really dimensions, but gradients of here and not there between it just being over. And that shit was crazy because you don't just finish. And so the point is, they call that the underworld. When you die, that's where they go. So that was the fucking point. There was no death. That's death. We figured it out. So, but our souls only have a difference here generated by the amount that we haven't returned to the Most High, in the sense that we think one was another and one was here, and Most High said both. Then people didn't want to go forward because they thought they were higher, so he said, okay, I give you this not fake, but this it's not fake, but it's a time in between real. We had a real fall, and we're gonna have a real good time after. This is a time where those who did wrong, those who are with the living and are supposed to be and are redeemed, didn't need redeeming. Well, you never need redeeming. You probably weren't here, but they're at the same level, and the Most High is at the same, and you simply have to choose. That's it. You simply choose between what you want and who you want to be with. And it's ultimately about fear, greed, and so on, or compassion and truth and self-awareness. And it's that the circuitry of the brain does this flip-flop. I'm not going to say their names, but this is what's been happening, and this technology was used against us, and somebody basically designed it, using it based upon the abuse of such technology, based upon the stolen knowledge of how to operate these systems to reach a level of clarity and healing. That's it. You could regenerate tissues and heal with it and communicate information across time, and you could communicate with nature effectively, like a scalar wave shooting out and being used as the medium for life itself to communicate and transmit, and then that can be used as your interface because you feel that same life and that same feeling. And so in an opposite way, like in the Phantomverse, what they learned, anger is the substrate that corruption flows in on from that fallen system. And so that's the point, to remove that from your spectrum. If you see the dial, it's like a food pyramid or something. If you have a certain amount, you have to keep that below a certain threshold, because in the end, or what's really happening, which is what you see when it's revealed, which we call that, whatever, or you could just see now and look at what's really happening. It's not this event, this event, this event, and then, okay, I'll get over that. In there, in all of time, all the events are playing over at the speed of light like a hologram, and you are the sum total of all your life events spinning at the speed of light until it's one single element, essence, and feeling, and that's you. And so you have to keep that down to a minimum, to the point where every life event was playing through your mind right now, and you can have a conversation and not melt down under the weight, or even get so happy you can't even communicate. But that'd be fine, because then you just float upwards. It's a buoyancy thing. All right, thank you.